guys, it's Cindy Lietz, your Polymer Clay Tutor. In today's studio tip, I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY texture stamps for polymer clay. Now, in the past, I have shown you lots of different types of tools and things that you can use for stamping into polymer clay. I've done videos on them, and one of them here is the core tools, which are core rollers, K-O-R, and they are just wonderful. I've loved using those. I've also done a video on Stampies, which is these cute little green stamps here. And then also a video on these custom made stamps. But they tend to be a little bit on the expensive side, and not everyone has a big budget for those types of supplies. But just as I told you recently that I'm moving my studio and reorganizing and building a new studio, which this is part of. Anyways, in the sorting, I came across all these stamps that I had made years and years ago for a class that I was teaching on making handmade paper. And we used to take these stamps and press them into the paper pulp. Well, I tested them out on polymer clay and they were great, and I want to show you how to make them, and they're super low budget and very creative and fun to make. What I'll do first is show you how to make them, and then show you what they look like when you stamp. Now, what I used was buttons. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have a button jar somewhere, and there are tons of different types of patterns and things that you can get in buttons. And especially this one happens to be a jar full of metal buttons, but you can see with the metal ones, they tend to have lots of really cool designs on them. But I'll just grab one here. This one would be a cool one too. Any of these would be great. You can use plastic buttons and stuff too. And then I've got some old corks. So these are just wine corks. And as I was looking at these today, you could actually do these double-ended. You don't have to do them just one end. But you just take a cork and you cut a little slot in the top. Sometimes there's one there already from the corkscrew. But I'm just going to cut a little bit deeper one in the top here with this little blade. And most buttons have a little shaft on them, and you want to make sure that it's going to be able to fit in there and sit down nicely. And so I'll have to cut a little bit bigger hole there. Maybe twist one. Each button is going to be different. Each shaft is a little bit different. Some of them don't have shafts at all, but if they do, you want to be able to get them in out of the way into the cork. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some hot glue, and the hot glue works really well because the cork is really porous and takes the hot glue wonderfully. Just going to put a bunch of hot glue on there, and then while it's still hot, stick my button in. It's pretty simple, really easy to do. Then after it cools off, you can start using it. So that's it. That's how easy that is to make. And like I said, there's tons and tons and tons of patterns that you can do. So let me just show you what these other ones here look like. So I've got some needled ones from my grandma's collection. And if you just stamp into the clay. Oh, and another thing, little tip, is I've got a little jar, little container here of water, and I have a sponge that I cut to size, and it has water in it. And that way I can just press my stamp into it and then press into the clay, and then it will resist the clay and it won't stick to it. Forgot to do that. In fact, as we're talking about it, this little container here has a great bottom. It would be great pressed into the clay as well. I'll just press it in, and you can see there's all kinds of neat patterns there. So let's move on through all of these little stamps, and I'll show you how cool they look. Sometimes they look different than you expect. Sometimes they're rounded and you have to kind of roll them a bit to get a bit of a cool mark on there. Like that. Isn't that one cool? And this one, if you roll it all the way around, it has like these little hearts and stuff. There's some very cool things that you could do with that. This one is one of those metal buttons that look like Scottish or English or something like that. This one here just has some cool little holes in it that turned out great. These would look great stamped along if you wanted to make things that look like flowers. This one just has some slots in it. which look great. That one looks great, stamped all over the place actually. The simpler the better. Let's go back over this end. That one has a great like coat of arms type look to it. This one is quite deep. It's got like some sort of grapes or something on it. It's a little hard to press in. Maybe roll that one around a bit. And this one, some of these simple ones are great. You can see some of these stamps there. I'm leaving a bit of a pink mark. I had originally put ink on all of these and stamped them into the paper. So there's traces of ink on some of these still. Look at that. A simple button looks really cool. This one is just a circle with kind of etches in it. So you could use this if you were doing like mocha megane technique, mica shift, if you just wanted to make some cool patterns on things. Look at all these endless designs. So here, let's try the one we just made. It's cool now. Isn't that cool? Oh, I should have pressed a little harder. Anyways, let's lift this up and show you what some of these patterns ended up looking like. Isn't that cool? So now just go raid your button jar, go drink some wine and get the corks from it, and bring out your hot glue gun, and you have some great texture stamps for your polymer clay. I hope you liked that. If you did, do let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have loads and loads of cool videos on polymer clay that you won't want to miss. If you have suggestions for future videos, make sure to leave those in the comment section below, and maybe we'll make a video for you. All right, so we'll see you next time, and bye for now.